He really is terrific, and he'll challenge you and help you. His business is people, your business is people, so he really is our perfect lead-off speaker for this morning. So please welcome Dan Murray.
I knew something was really wrong. What I found was, on reflection, this was all very empty. My whole life was empty. Every project I did was a bit like doing a Sudoku. Like when you're doing it, it's intellectually stimulating, and when you finish, what do? You just turn the page. No one cares. And I realised at this point that despite everything, I was broken. And at that point, my whole life fell apart. I went through a marriage breakup, I went through all sorts of challenges, I left my career, and I was lost. And at that point, there was a moment of leadership, a tiny little moment, a little tiny moment that happened many, many years before that came to my mind. I was about 20, I'd saved up some money, and I went travelling. It was my dream because as a poor kid, all I wanted to do was get out of this place. I wanted to go and see the world. And I got my backpack and I went to Thailand, total cliche. I was like a hairbraid away from just out of the, right out of the magazines. But I was on this train, it was rattling its way back into Bangkok. I've been on, it was an overnight train from Chiang Mai, and it was making its way through the back streets, and the smells of Bangkok were starting to hit us and woke me up. And as I was waking up, I saw a woman dressed in a uniform carrying a small wooden box, and she was walking down the aisle of the train, and she was collecting money from passengers who'd bought some food or drinks on the train trip. And I'd bought some food and had a drink, and as she reached me, I opened my wallet, and my heart sunk. I didn't have any cash. It became incredibly apparent that the wooden box wasn't PayWave enabled, and I was going to be in a bit of trouble here. The language barrier, the tiredness, the anxiety, all of it started to well up. And it didn't make sense, but I started to get really, really agitated and worried and anxious, and she must have seen this. She must have seen this in my face. What she did was she turned around, walked back to the middle of the carriage, she pulled out her purse, took out 300 baht, about 10 Australian dollars. She looked at me, put it in the wooden box. As she walked back past, she just touched me on the shoulder and kept on walking. And now I don't know how much money you make working on the trains in Thailand, but I know it's not enough. You see, in that moment, she saw an opportunity to help. She saw an opportunity to connect and make a difference in someone's lives. Because what I really believe is that we need leaders who build understanding. Because when you build understanding, you foster this sense of why we do what we do. Work goes from being personal and about a paycheck to being purposeful and about changing the world. And man, we need a lot more of this. These moments of understanding, these moments of leadership, they don't have to be big. They don't have to be massive. They don't need a grand structure and strategic change. They just need leaders to step up. My challenge to you all is, when's that moment going to come for you? When's that moment going to be there for you to build that understanding and empathy to make a real difference? I want to thank you all for listening this morning. Thank you.
For more information, visit our website, empathicconsulting.com.